Katelyn McCulloch, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about your short film, I Don't. It will be screening at the Vaughan International Film Festival this upcoming June 21st. That's just next week. It's right around the corner.
I'm so excited.
Are you excited about screening at a local festival?
Yeah, it's always so nice when the film is shot in Nova Scotia, but because my life has always existed between Toronto and Nova Scotia, it's really exciting that now people in Ontario, and also that's where my cinematographer lives now. So it'll be nice to have people who worked on the film be able to see it. And also, I think it's just nice when your friends don't have to like fly to a different country to see your movie. So it's nice that they can just show up and get to enjoy it with an audience. It's so important to see films with an audience.
Yeah, especially when I Don't has been across a few different festivals, and if you're premiering in the States, it's very hard for people locally or people from friends and family from Nova Scotia to go out
Yeah,
to go see that film.
exactly. Yeah.
Let's talk about it a little bit. So I screened it just the other day. I actually screened it with my wife, and
Oh,
yeah, I told her the premise of the short, and I knew she would be interested in watching.
so it's really about a couple who are madly in love, but the woman in the relationship is questioning what she thinks about marriage and if she actually wants to get married. And they are engaged and it's their wedding day. So it's a really high stakes moment for the couple and for the woman in particular. It was important to me I mean, I grew up loving the rom-com genres. I saw Runaway Bride and all these movies where it was like all about the woman getting married, but I really never saw a story that reflected back to me any other option than you end up with the guy and you get married. So I love the playful, romantic, funny side of the genre, but I wanted to give it a bit of a modern twist and tell it from the perspective of a woman who is like me today, figuring out like, oh, what does marriage really mean to me? And is it something that I want? And does that equal love or a successful relationship? And I think for some people it does, and some people it doesn't. And this couple discovers their own journey and version of that.
Yeah, I related to it, and my wife as well. And my wife's words were, "This is a short. This is a this is a short I can get behind."
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, she really enjoyed it,
Wow.
and I really enjoyed it as well. And we're in exactly that predicament because no, it's not even a predicament. It's a predicament to other people,
Hmm.
not me, not my wife. She's my wife because of social norms to call the person you're ending up the rest of your life with your wife. So I do call her my wife. I have a ring, but we
Yeah.
never walk down the aisle. We never, we've been common law for 2 years.
Yeah. I
And
love that, and I love you
yeah,
sharing that because I think that it seems like it's so normal, especially because I'm in the arts community, which is so liberal, and there's so many different versions of relationships. But I do think it screened in New York, and I didn't know anybody at the screening, just as you mentioned, like nobody was there, but I went, and the amount of people who came up to me and was like, "It's so relatable," and because you make a film and you hope the audience gets it and that they relate to the experience. But all the women who came up to me were like, "Yeah, fuck marriage. I don't need." Oh, sorry, I swore, but like I don't need to if I don't want to, and it doesn't mean that you're not in a healthy, beautiful, loving relationship. It's just like showing another option of how people can end up together. And I find that really exciting. And it was super fun to make the movie.
yeah, yeah. We often get head scratches when we tell people our story, and we tell people we're together, we consider ourselves married, and they're like, "When was the wedding?" We always get that, so
Yeah.
it's very funny to see the story. We loved it. It was great.
I'm so glad. That means so much to me. Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
This is your third short film. So how has your experience been in the film festival circuit, and how excited are you for Vaughan Film Festival?
I'm very excited for Vaughn. It's the feedback for this film, like all movies as a director, you make them, but it's on our laptops. Like we're zooming right now and you're with your editor. You might see it on like a TV screen, but to see it on the big screen is always such a joy because you really get to appreciate the work of all the actors, the cinematography, even the sound design, the edit. Like you're able to really appreciate all of the incredibly hard work that went into making the movie. So when I did get to see it first on the big screen, the first time when you watch your movie on the big screen is like I couldn't breathe. I think I blacked out. I was like, oh, because you're just like hoping like everything's correct and works and that the audience has a good experience. And then the second screening, it was a little less of a blackout. And this one, I'm really excited to be able to like enjoy it and really listen to the audience's reactions, because with indie films, you don't get that time to do screen tests and things like that. You send it to your friends, but really the feedback that helps you grow as a filmmaker is sitting in the audience with people around you and being like, where do they laugh? Where do they awe? Where do they cry a little bit? So I find that time is just so important. And so that'll be exciting at Vaughan.
One of the things that I love about shorts is the fact that you have to get right into the thick of things immediately because you have such a short runtime. Your chemistry in the film was fantastic, and I read that you had a past relationship with your co-star, so that was definitely evident. We saw that on screen, and in just a short runtime, you were able to showcase this relationship. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's always so funny because some people react like, oh my gosh, you did a movie with your ex-boyfriend. I'm like, he was my high school sweetheart. This was like 15, 18 years ago, so long ago. Gosh, 18 years ago. We were teenagers. So Jeremy is an incredible actor, and I always knew him to be an incredible actor. As his career has evolved, he's moved into the podcasting world, runs a very successful podcast with CBC called Sick Boy Podcast,
Oh, good.
as well as other ones. He's like a total superstar, but he hasn't been acting for years and years. And we are still great pals. And one day we're having beers and he was like, I would act again if you gave me something. And I was like, okay. And so I wrote this film just as a bit of a challenge to myself because I had made my first two short films. Oh, wait, no, I wrote this actually before I made any movies. So this movie was one of the first ones I wrote, but didn't get to make it till later. But as a challenge myself, just to like write scripts, I took this thing that we did in high school, which is in the movie, where they have to have the most fun with only $10. And we did that in high school because we were in high school. And so I wove that into the film as kind of what they do as their final night before their wedding. And so I started with that as a springboard. Everything else that came after was totally just creativity pouring through me onto the page. So yeah, when we got to film it, because just as you mentioned, it's a short amount of time and we had 2.5 days to make the film, and there's lots of locations in it. There's like a lot going on. So it was great to just have somebody I trusted. I knew I didn't need to give many redirects. And same with Jessica Barry, who plays the friend in the movie in a scene. Knew they were talented actors, knew that I could just dive in with them and trust that the performances would be great. And the chemistry side of it is something about, even though we're, just friends now, I think chemistry comes from like trust and respect, and not from like this dark and stormy place that sometimes it is portrayed on TV. I wanted the chemistry of this relationship to be really grounded and true, and like I said, come from trust and respect and love. So we already had that built in, so then we could just dive in and really dig into the filmmaking.
I read that you directed 13 live circus shows.
Did. I did. Yeah.
And I read this is on your website, you're working on a feature film called Life's a Circus.
Yes.
Is there a correlation there, I'm assuming?
No, yes, of course. Yeah. So actually, Life's a Circus is a feature film that I have written that is when I need a lot of money and I need some Hollywood money to make this movie. It's a massive film. So I have that written. I'm working towards doing a short form version of it to help sell the bigger concept. But yes, I started, I was a professional circus artist for 8 years in Toronto, and I performed, at weddings and galas and different like circus companies throughout Canada, Europe, the States. And it was an amazing time. And that's what I did to like pay my bills while I was auditioning as an actor. But it's interesting because they seem so different, but I really believe that work it has translated so well to directing film, and why as soon as I clicked into film, which I think is I know is the best medium for me, where my imagination really can take off in cinema. But there's something when you're directing circus, people's lives are on the line. And so that's stressful to me. And directing films, everyone's like, you're so relaxed and having fun. I'm like, oh, well, nobody's hanging 30 feet in the air from their ankles. So like, this is relaxed, guys. This is not stressful. And all just like the organization and the efficiency that you need directing circus, the creativity, the problem solving, the also very tactile kind of like crew positions, but in circus in terms of rigging and all of that, like, is all translated over to film now. So it's been really fun to have those two worlds meet. And then yes, some projects that I hope to get off the ground. in the coming years all relate back to that. I'm working on I have another feature right now that I'm hopefully going to make first, that I just applied for funding for. It's called Like Mother, Like Daughter. So it's a mother-daughter dramedy, and it's a little bit more doable in terms of finances. So I'm hoping to get that film made and then be able to be like, look, here's a feature, and then be like, give me even more money to make this giant circus movie.
Yeah, sell them as a package to one company.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah,
You know what? You got to work for me. You get out there, you tell them, you go to Hollywood, you tell them what you want to see, circus.
no problem. I want to see circus, so make it happen. Let's make it
Yeah,
happen.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, Katelyn, thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing I don't on the big screen, because I was able to only see it on my laptop, and it was amazing. So I'm excited to see it on the big screen with an audience and festival goers. So thank you so much for joining me. Everyone watching this, you can get tickets to the Vaughan International Film Festival on the festival website, and the festival runs June 19th, which is just next Monday, June 19th to June 22nd.
Thank you. And I'm so glad that you and your wife enjoyed the movie, and can't wait for you to take it all in on the big screen and appreciate all the amazing work of my team. They did such an amazing job.
They did. Yeah, fantastic job. Thank you so much for your time.